I know it always takes it a little second to
Refresh.
do its thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it does.
So let me double check on my end.
I'm refreshing now.
Yeah,
It looks like we're live.
we are. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Hello, hello, hello.
Hey.
We are here for our second installment of the classic lesbian romance book club. And this time we are going to be discussing Loving Her
Oh, I
by
like that
Ann
cover.
Shockley.
Yes.
Okay. If y'all want to introduce yourselves, that would be great.
Just clockwise?
You know what? I'm not going to even try the counterclockwise thing. Amanda, we'll just start with you and go that way.
Let's go. Everybody, I'm Amanda, aka the Naughty Librarian. I honestly, when Bethany said lesbian, she had me for this book club, so I was very excited to do it, and I'm just excited to be here. I'm having a good time, everybody. Let's go for Bethany.
Yeah, it's been fun. Hi, I'm Bethany. I guess this is like my brainchild that I dragged everybody along with me on.
I mean, I encouraged it. It's fine.
It's true. I
It's
know.
such a good time.
It's fun. It's fun to. It's interesting to talk about. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like I've been on here before. But hi.
We're all really bad at introducing ourselves.
We're really
apparently.
good at introducing ourselves. Yeah, great.
Hi, I'm Izzy from Happy for Now. I mean, Bethany was like, "Hey, what do you think of this?" And I was like, "Yeah, absolutely. Let's read weird old lesbian books." And it's been a time for my ADHD brain. Is what we'll call it. A time of not finishing the books. So yeah, you can find me at Happy for Now, talking about romance, talking about manga. Join Ashley and I for 30 and 30 next month. Come on now.
Oh, yeah, we do have 30
Get
and
on
30
it.
starting in like 3 days.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. We'll be fine.
Michelle?
Okay. Hi, I'm Michelle from Throw Once Another Letter, and I also had fun being like, when Bethany was like, "Hey, does anyone want to do this thing?" And I was like, "Me. Always me. Anytime. I'm here for it. Just tell me what to do. I'm there."
And if you are here, I am going to assume that maybe, but I can't really assume that because you could be here from someone else's channel. But you are currently on my channel, Bookishrealm, where I read a little bit of literally everything. So yeah. So it is my turn to host. Oh boy. Bellatrix, I'm going to drop the link to the first one. It was on Bethany's channel. Bethany
Yeah, the first one's on my channel, and there is a post on my Instagram that shows who the host of each book's going to be. So you can find that
Here's
there
the
with
link.
everybody tagged.
It's every other month.
Every other month.
Yes.
So the next one's in October.
On
Amanda's
channel. Amanda's.
I was like, hold on.
I know. I'm like, it
It's all
mirrors.
wrong.
It mirrors it.
I know, the wrong way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's start by just general thoughts, ratings. Did you or did you not finish the book? Who would like to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
So I haven't finished it yet. I'm only like a couple chapters in. It's kind of like flower rewriting for me right now.
Mhm.
But like, y'all can say whatever you want, spoilery stuff. It doesn't bother me because I'll probably forget at some point. So
Actually, you know what? I probably should have given like a synopsis of what
We should talk about what the book is. Yeah.
Yeah, we
what
probably
it
should
is.
talk about
Okay.
what it is real quick.
Okay.
And
I was
why
thinking
it's
about that. I was like,
important.
hold on.
Why did we choose this book? And like, you know.
Well, you picked the title. So
Okay,
how
I
about
picked.
you do the honors.
Okay. So, Loving Her is the first interracial lesbian romance by a Black author that was published. It came out in 1974. And there's a lot to talk about with it. It's really, it holds an interesting and important place in the history of the romance genre. We'll say that, regardless of like which I think similarly to the last book we read, you know, like there are definitely things you can critique about it. But I think like these are books that are significant as being the first to do things and some of the things that they were exploring for the time they came out. Yeah. That didn't give a synopsis, but I guess that kind of.
So,
I mean,
go ahead. Whoever was.
Oh, I was like, I can give a synopsis if you want, because I read the synopsis a minute ago. If you want, or if you want to, Ashley, because I was like, hold on, let me refresh myself on their names.
Go ahead, you can take.
Inevitably, myself would show up and do it. So my understanding is it's about Renee, who ends up married to Jerome, who's like an alcoholic, abusive partner, has a baby with him, leaves him for her female lover, Terry, a white woman. And it's just like their journey of a relationship, kind of. She's also a musician and like kind of, I felt like some of this from what I read, I'm at like 60%, is her journey to like almost refine herself after that relationship with Terry. Yeah. Like after Jerome with Terry. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting. It's very slow. So slow.
Okay. Well, let's go back.
Did I miss anything?
No, you didn't miss anything.
Okay.
I think one of the interesting things in the foreword that it did point out is that this is the first explicit, you don't have to infer that there is a lesbian romance within the framework of this book. Although Black authors prior to her have written, you know, about lesbian
like you read between the lines.
Read between the lines.
Yeah, it's wink, wink, nudge. This is lesbian work.
This
right?
was straightforward. I just think that that's interesting to point out as well, so it gives you some type of historical context that historically with what was going on during the 60s and 70s, it kind of gave her a pathway to be able to write something on page. I did not care for it for a plethora of reasons, but I will not deny its importance in the genre. But I have a lot of issues with this one, which I'm sure we will dive into.
Yeah. It was a rough one. Yeah, I don't know. I'll just go with my initial thoughts. I think we're like Ashley was saying, we're 0 for 2 so far. I ended up giving it about 2 stars because it has its moments, and I appreciate it for what it is. But the biggest takeaway I have is that it's rather didactic the whole time. So for me, I'm just like, oh God, like every time I had to turn a page. So it wasn't a fun reading experience, but I read at least all of it. I skimmed a little, but I got to the end. So
gold star.
Thank you.
I feel like I probably have like the best feelings about it, but part of it is that like for stuff like this, I enjoy reading it as a piece of history and like what it says about how people were thinking at the time. So like if I was going to rate this as a romance, it's not great. Like it has its moments. I think on Goodreads I gave it like 3.5 stars, but a lot of that is because of like how I think it's interesting as a piece of history, partly in the romance genre, but also in terms of like where it sits in queer Black feminist thought of the 1970s, like where we definitely are not where she was then, but I think it's interesting. So yeah.
I made it like 60% and then swanned off with my ADHD brain because it's so slow. And like in some ways, like it, like you said, Bethany, like parts of it, I'm like, that's interesting in the with context of the history. But like, I think I would be weird about reading it back then too. I don't know that I would have been thrilled with some of her takes. But it's hard to know, right? Because like we weren't alive during it,
right?
But yeah, I just have found some of her like takes in the book weirdly uncomfortable at times, like what she's trying to say about what it feels like her commentary on Black men. I mean, that's kind of what the foreword tells us, right? And like at moments I was like, this is really, I'm uncomfortable. And I'm very white. And I'm like, and I'm uncomfortable. So I'm like, this is interesting. But then I'm like, then the history, you know, I'm sitting at like a 2 probably when I finish it though.
She doesn't have anything good to say really much about Black men. But like also it feels like, to me, it feels like maybe she has trauma that is coming out in this book. Like that's how it read to me. You know what I mean?
I think my issue with, so for me, I mean, I looked at it in historical context. Like for those of you who may not know, 60s, 70s, we're talking about we're in the heat of Black Power movement. And I think what she was attempting to do, which is something that I feel like as a Black queer woman is still something that is evident today. Historically, Black men have been emasculated when you look at the history of slavery and how that's disrupted the Black nuclear family, right? Unfortunately, I think some aspects of when we think about Black nationalism, Black Power movement, trying to, like in the forward, like they stated, trying to reestablish a Black man as the head of the nuclear family, you end up pushing Black women to the side, which has been a facet of every movement that involves Black people. Although a lot of Black women are doing the work behind the scenes, they're not at the forefront. And so a lot of those conversations, I think, are happening now. And I think that what she was attempting to do was to illustrate the issues with the movement within the context of this book. But for me, where she falters is that she generalizes Black men and Black women in a way that just does not sit well with me at all. And that's not to say that there isn't an issue that exists where Black men try to reestablish themselves as the head of the family, bypass everything that Black women have done. But it's an all or nothing for her. And so for me, I was just like, yeah, you know, this doesn't really sit well with me. And even her discussions about Black women don't sit right with me. And yes, I think there is much to be said about her putting Black lesbians on the map, letting Black women know that this is not something that's exclusive to white people. Like we also can be queer, but it's the demonizing of Black men and Black women at the expense of giving this message that I was kind of like, I understand what you're trying to say, but your execution is just not, it's not working for me at all. And then the inclusion or discussion about race was also problematic for me. There was a lot of discussion about racism from everybody. Everybody was talked about through a racial lens. But why not Terry? Why not Terry? I feel like Terry got it easier than anybody else. But Terry, even like in the forward, because even when I got to the part, even though the forward gave everything away, right? I'm thinking when I started getting into the meat of the text, I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of have to agree with that, because Terry describes herself as a WASP, and you're telling me that at no point there would be any racial tension in the context of your relationship. I also felt like certain things that she was doing, like there was one section where she switched to, I don't even know how to describe it because it's not AAVE, but it's dialect wise, where, you know, Black people joke amongst themselves like, yes, a master, like stuff like that. That's not mixed company nonsense. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's true. Don't do that in mixed company. So even small stuff like that, I was like, yo, what the hell are you doing? Like it doesn't always read right to me, because if every white person that you meet, you have some type of tension with them, you're analyzing them about how they perceive you as a Black woman, but Terry's the only person in the world that is exempt from that same criticism, that to me just doesn't read right. It didn't read right at all, because if every white person that you come into, literally every white person that she came into contact with, there was some mention of what white people do, what black people do. But with Terry, it was just kind of like,
well, I mean,
with
Renee said
Terry.
it too. Like, Terry was like so shocked at the upset about the building thing. And I was like unsurprised when this happened and didn't quite understand how Terry like wasn't expecting it. And so like that, that's where I started to be like, wait.
I mean, honestly, though,
How?
I have known people, though, who are that oblivious or have been that oblivious. And I think that, I don't know. I mean, like, I think to me, it seemed like it was like Terry in some ways was criticizing the white people who like think they're doing well by like reading some black literature, but like have no idea of the problems that actually exist. And like the thought, like, well, no, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like Terry was exactly exemplified that, like her thoughtlessness with the whole thing with the housekeeper, for instance, and like them not leaving the money in the drawer. Like there were just like a lot of little things that to me it felt like, I mean, yeah, it's not, she doesn't go hard on her for sure, partly probably because she's the love interest, but to me I read it as like criticized, like her exemplifying like the like white people who are oblivious and think that they're okay. Just, you know what I mean?
She's like basically white privilege personified. And like I even made a highlight during that thing with the building manager who's just like, oh, well, we don't rent apartments to black people. And she's like, oh my gosh, I've never experienced racism before. And I'm like, girl, like
you're like,
I have like 15 examples of someone being racist right in front of you to Renee, and you did nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Are we supposed to like Terry? I don't want them to be together. Apparently, she's
I don't know.
at sex. I think that's why she has.
I think they're like, oh my god, an orgasm. This is it.
That's all I got.
Honey, you can give
and she has money. Like she's
got
rich.
money and she gives good orgasms. Like that's all I got for Terry.
I just feel like it takes away from the believability of their relationship, to be honest with you. It really does, because at the end of the day, like Terry can be as clueless as she wants to be, but I keep going back to the fact that there's no way that through your lens you maneuver through the world where you are constantly aware of your relationship or your proximity to the white person in the room, but Terry is the exemption to the rule, and the excuse is that she's innocent because she's never been around. Like innocence to me, it bleeds into the fact that innocence is a crutch that people use to be like, well, I didn't grow up, I don't know, I've never been around this before. And I feel like people today still use that as a crutch. And I think by having that innocence, you do more harm than good. And so Terry's standing up for her, it's that didn't even read right to me, because it's just like you couldn't even begin to understand what it's like to be in your partner's shoes. You're not really doing the work. You've never done the work to know what it's like to be in your partner's shoes. So even your attempts to be the good person are not going to ever read right, because you will never know. And I'm not saying that you can't work towards it or have a better understanding of your partner, but we don't even get to see that from Terry whatsoever, except her moments where it's just like, somebody's not being nice to my partner, and so I'm going to say what I need to say in this moment. And it's just like, no, that's not the way that it works. I think that if it was shifted and she was, I don't want to say weary about being in a relationship with Terry, because that's also that commentary about during, you know, Black Power, and even now, this whole back and forth about whether you should be in a relationship with someone who's in the same race as you, or whether you should be in an interracial relationship. I think that she was pushing back against that narrative, but I don't think she did it in a strong enough way that made Terry the exemption to the rule. It was almost like, look, see, there are good white people out here.
Right.
I feel like Terry was just overlooking Renee's culture and blackness, because she just kind of starts manipulating her and like taking over and saying, you should go to school, I'm sending you to school, here's money, go to school, or all of these things. And I'm like, she's being just very controlling. And I thought this was going to be like a double bad relationship, and it's almost like she's just purposefully not acknowledging that there's differences between them, because acknowledging differences isn't the problem. Color blindness.
Although, to be fair, like she does, like she is acting like a lot of high-handed, wealthy men do in romances, like in
true.
like straight romances coming out at the time. So
I like
like it's I mean, I don't like that either. I think you're right. Like I have problems with it too.
No,
but, like,
that's an interesting parallel though to think about.
But you know,
how...
like in some ways she is paralleling these like
Mhm.
high-handed billionaire men with women in romances at the time. So I do think it's like that might be part of it. I wonder, so this is what because I agree with what y'all are saying. I wonder though, at the time this was written, right, in the mid 1970s, like could she have written something that like had that degree of nuance with a white love interest character? I mean, it could theoretically, but like is that something that would have been like, I wonder, I don't know, maybe it is. I don't know.
I mean, I feel like the conversations were happening then. Now,
Yeah.
whether she chose to write about it or not is a completely different story. But I think the conversations have been happening for a long time. And I know that she was coming from, because even the reference that she makes about to famous people being in interracial relationships. God, y'all, she was talking about when they were at the college in the dorm room and not being able to see someone being in a relationship outside their race. I think those conversations were happening then. I just don't think she executed any of this well. And I'm not saying that she doesn't have a foot to stand on or she doesn't have any skin in the game when it comes to, because these were all conversations happening in the 60s and 70s, but her execution and the way that she handles these very important and like super relevant now conversations, it just was like, yo, you went left. Like, I need you to come back this way.
It feels like
a little bit.
I felt like she was like the person who like sits in the room and listens to the other people talking and is like, yeah, I totally get this. And then walks out and you hear them talking about it and you're like, were you in the room listening at all? Like how did you end up here? It almost feels like that. Do you know what I mean? Like
she's not wrong. And that's the thing about it, is that like nothing that she's tackling within the context of this book is wrong. Like I mean, like down to, and it was so hard for me reading this because I was like, sis, I get you. I get where you're coming from. Like even the whole conversation, especially when it comes to Black women, the moment that you're like, yeah, no, I'm good. And it's like, oh yeah, of course you would go to a woman. Like what else would, you know what I'm saying? Like those are conversations. I literally saw a post on Facebook the other day where a woman supposedly left her Black partner, boyfriend, husband, whatever, and ended up with another Black woman. And when I tell you the internet was in flames about it, we're like, why are we having this conversation today? It's true. It does happen. And I feel like Black women take a lot of heat for being in same-sex relationships or being queer, especially coming from Black men. But you cannot lump all Black men and all Black women together. That's not a fair analysis of anything. And the way that she tore down both groups, I was just like,
I didn't feel like she liked anybody.
I was with you until it's all Black men
went
think
too
like
far.
this. All Black women think like this. And it's like, no, sis, that's not true. Everybody doesn't think like that. Is it a conversation worth having, especially in context of the Black community? Absolutely. But you cannot work in absolutes when it comes to attaching labels to people, especially when you're pushing back against labels. You're saying, I don't want to be labeled as X, Y, and Z just because of this is who I am. But in the same regard, you're labeling people within your own community because of your frustration. So it to me, it all boiled down to the execution of it, and then the amount of trauma that she made that woman go
it's
through.
a lot of trauma.
Oh my God.
So much trauma.
Well, also the daughter, like, why did the daughter have to die? Like that, I was like, that seemed unnecessary.
Really?
Like,
that seems so. Yeah. What?
Oh, Izzy, you haven't gotten there.
No, it's fine. I'm glad to know this. I didn't know this going in.
It's in like the last couple chapters. Like the daughter dies,
and it's like off page. Thank goodness.
Off page.
not the sexual assault. That's all on
No.
page. But
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, we get like plenty of the
down
sexual
into
assault
that.
on page.
it was rough to get
But
through.
Does anybody know the answer to this question? I can't.
Okay, I
don't
just
know.
pulled it up. I just pulled it. I literally was like, hold on. I saw this comment. I was like, let me go find it. It's stylistically not a successful novel, but it's her first.
Yeah.
And her writing career dates back to the 40s, which is interesting, doing articles and stuff.
And she published other books as well. So after this,
I'm skimming, so it's taking me a minute.
I mean, also, like, I think at the time, this kind of stuff was very niche and was getting published from small queer presses.
Yeah.
So, like, it's not like there were a lot of people writing, this at the time, which probably is part of it.
And that foreword does tackle as well some of the stuff with Terry's like lack of exposure to racism and her like weirdness.
Mm-hmm.
It's a stretch.
One thing that I do think is interesting is that the only other, like, the one other Black person that we get that doesn't fall into those two categories is when she goes to the party and there's the one gay Black guy, and they sort of have a moment of like being like, yeah, this is weird being in these like almost all white spaces, but like also like the implication is that there's just no queer Black spaces for them to be in, and so they deal with it, like, which is, I guess, maybe a conversation for that time as well.
Yeah, and I don't know how
that like
accurate
most
that is
queer
for that
spaces
time.
were white, and so
I mean, I
like,
still feel
don't
like
know,
queer
it's
spaces
interesting.
now lean.
I mean, a lot of
very
queer
white.
spaces are
still
white
white.
still.
Yeah, like I still think
white.
that's an issue. So
Yeah, it's so once again, like going back to, I think that she was tackling some real issues, like that whole idea. I mean, the term intersectionality hadn't been coined by this time. I think it was coined in like 93, but she is making a point that to be Black and queer is one experience. That you're dealing with a plethora of different things going on there, and so at the time, no, we weren't. Necessarily. I mean, there were spaces, but I think the way that you look at Black queer spaces existing then and white queer spaces existing, two completely different things. But Lord, man, I wish she just because I'm like, she's just coming with so many brilliant criticisms of Black nationalism, Black power, which are so valid, and even things that we still battle today. Even people.
I do think that part was interesting. How much of this stuff was reflected back at today's conversations.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not surprised, but you are like, it's one of those things where you're like, wow, we really are still having basically the same conversations.
We are still having the same conversations.
And,
I mean, people think about you think about certain the role that Black women play in a lot of movements that people just do not give them credit for. You think of, I mean, even something, it's not small, but thinking of something like the Me Too movement. People don't remember that is a whole Black queer woman that started that movement. You think about BLM, people often forget that it's Black women behind that. And it is an argument that Black women time and time again put themselves on the line for the Black community, only for parts of the Black community to in turn shit on them. And so it is very valid, but I'm just,
it's true. Well, or even like you think about like Stonewall, a lot of that was being led by Black trans women. Like it's,
yeah. So it's forgotten, very much so forgotten.
And
her
it's
points
awful.
are valid, but it's like I feel like she's coming at the book like as he was saying, like, are you okay? Like it feels like a struggle book. Like you're going through something, and
I did feel like, I'm like, you good?
You good?
Like
it
I
felt
just want to give you a hug
at everything, and her points are valid. And I think coming at it with so much vitriol at times makes her points hit less hard than they should.
Yeah, it's hard because it's like I have some degree of empathy for like I can imagine like if this is the experience you've had and you're coming out of a place of feeling a lot of anger over that, like I can see how this book could come out of that. You know what I mean? Even if it's not very even-handed in the way that it's handling
you're
stuff.
saying it better. I mean, like, has to have ups and downs, but it just felt like I am 110% angry the whole time. And I'm like, it could have varied
Yeah. But then, yeah, I don't know. Like, I have mixed feelings about it because I'm like, it's like, I feel like having that anger over these experiences is valid. You know, I mean, I don't know. Like, on the one hand, like, yeah, it doesn't really give any space for the fact that, like, not everybody is like this. But on the other hand, like, does she have to necessarily extend grace to groups of people who've harmed her? I don't know.
I think that, I mean, but that's like me saying, you know, I've experienced racism, right?
Right.
From white
Mhm.
people.
Yeah.
Do I have to extend grace to all of you?
Mm.
Should I care? You know what I'm saying? Like, should
Yeah.
I carry out that anger and frustration on all of
Right.
you
Right.
Mhm.
for the actions of a group of you?
Right.
So it's a hard, I mean, I'm not answering the question, but that is a hard question to answer because
No,
it's
yeah,
like,
100%.
it's kind of like, I
There's
mean,
no easy.
there's no easy answer because it's like,
Mhm.
is it really fair? But then am I allowed to feel the way?
This is where,
Right.
like, I want to, like,
Exactly.
I wish we could, like, talk to
Yes.
her for, like, 5 minutes and just be like, hey, I have questions.
Is
I
she
just
still-
need to know, like,
like,
a couple clarifying questions
Like, is she
to frame
still
this book in my
around?
mind.
Is she still alive? Like, or not? I don't know. I'm curious.
She's born in 1927.
Oh
I
wow.
Oh, yeah.
Probably
Dang.
not.
Probably not. I didn't think I realized.
If so, hell yeah,
Oh no,
lady.
she is.
That's
She's
awesome.
96.
Okay.
Okay.
She's alive. She lives in Louisville, Kentucky, and she's
All right, cool. I am 4 hours away. I'm gonna go find. I'm kidding.
that. Yeah,
obviously.
she's not. She was born in 1927. She's 96 years old. Wow.
I wonder what her
Dang.
thoughts would be now about,
Yeah.
you know, how
That would be
movements have
interesting.
shifted and changed from when, you know, she was in the height
Mhm.
of, you know, especially Black Power movement. Like, being in the height
Yeah.
of that is very, although I beg to argue that there is somewhat of a wave of that going on in pockets
Now.
of spaces now.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
how would you compare the movement that she experienced then, I suppose, of what's going on now, especially with Black women being more vocal
Mhm.
about the misogynoir that
Yeah.
exists outside and inside of the Black community?
Mhm.
And whether she would approach any of this differently. And I also have to recognize that I am reading this from a 21st century lens,
Mhm.
born into a generation where I refused. I had a disagreement with my dad the other day about, literally yesterday, we were sitting at the kitchen table and we were just talking about the Black community as a whole and his perspective being born in 58, me
Mhm.
being born in 91, and how our experiences have shaped the way we're both a part of the Black community, but the way that we view it is extremely different. And I brought up the comment, I said, well, we're not going to pretend and sit here that Black men in some part haven't played a role in silencing the way that Black women move in society, you know? Not all Black men, but there are a pocket of y'all that still, even in my generation, can't get right. can't get right worth of nothing. But I just don't, I don't know, maybe because I've been surrounded by Black men who are very much so about uplifting Black women and recognizing the work that they have done for decades, for centuries, not even decades, for centuries. And so it does skew my perspective because I'm like, oh man, the whole Black community is not like this. I mean, yes, we have a problem, but
Right.
all
But
Black,
it's also like, what is your experience? Because, like, honestly,
Yeah.
there are queer Black women I follow, like on TikTok, for instance, who have very little patience for Black men.
very little.
You know, like, and so, like, even today, like, there definitely are women in this space who, like, so I don't know, like, is it really that?
They're Black queer women who throw them all away. Throw them away. You will have Black men who say, I'm done, because Black men can't get it together. But it's just, I think I've grown into, and this is just me personally, I can't speak on behalf of everyone in the Black community, but I have grown into a space of not working in absolutes, because I feel like it does more harm than good sometimes. But also, I have to recognize that your experience can color the way that you view entire groups of people, unfortunately, for the better or for the worse. So I just, man, there was like no redeeming characters.
I just literally
God.
though, like as I was reading, I was just like, can I Denise, the kid? I liked the kid was fine. Like she was whatever. I mean, she was there. I didn't hate her.
And she wasn't.
Yeah. And then she was apparently.
Stop.
Well, now
it was terrible. Like I was like, seriously, like this woman has been through so much trauma already, and then we're gonna throw this on top. I don't know. It was a lot. Like she put her through.
How old was she?
Lot.
She was a lightning rod of trauma, like everything.
I don't know. She was like 9 or 10, something like that. Like she was like.
I just don't understand.
I don't know what messaging she was attempting to send by killing off Denise. Like, was this is what happens when you marry black men?
But wasn't it she in a car accident with her dad? Wasn't her dad driving? Yeah,
Did
she
the
was
dad
in a car
die?
accident. No.
Not a scratch. He was drunk.
Not
The
a scratch.
dad
That's the part
was
that
drunk.
killed me.
He was fine, and
was
he killed their
fine.
daughter.
Throw the whole book in the trash.
Okay, okay, thank you. Denise is 7. Thank you, Jessica.
Yeah. It's just
I only paid $1.99 if that helps.
I mean, I did too. It's fine. I'm DNFing it, and my review is literally gonna be I can't believe the kid dies.
Yeah,
it's like, does the dog die?
I mean,
She
also
was
though,
convenient
Renee, you're saying don't
compromise.
send your children away for a year, but at the same time, like, I get it. She was scared. He was stalking her.
Yeah.
Like, I 100% understand why she would say, go stay with your grandmother for a while.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
I don't know. Here we go again. Best of intention versus impact. Because I do think that with discussions now, I think Black women do experience a lot of trauma that they are inevitably forced just to get over. Because no one wants to spend the time or resources in order to make sure that mentally, emotionally, and physically they are back on their feet. You know what I'm saying? So part of me is just like, yo, I'm just kind of like like the experiencing all of this, an abusive relationship, you've been raped, you're dealing with racial tension all the time, people stereotyping you all the time, your former husband is stalking you, your current partner is oblivious to race relations, then your child ends up dead. Like, it's just like, being a Black woman is tough, but I don't want it to come across like it's just fucking miserable. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's how it read sometimes. It's just like the plight of a Black woman is just miserable all the time. And it's like, it's tough. It is hard. But I just felt like she couldn't catch a break, like, at all. And then to kill the kid, it was just like,
the kid was like too much. I feel
the
like
kid's too much. I'm DNFing. Like, I'm done.
Like, I feel like if they hadn't done the kid, it would have been more like manageable. I don't know.
Yeah,
it felt very like trauma
never
dumpy.
kill the kid. Like, let's be real. Like, this is not something you do. And even though that happens, you don't need to do it in your book.
It does. I mean, it does.
I felt like it was also because she was so underutilized the whole book that now that she's gone and Renee has all this time to like exit her old life and like heal and start a new life. And I think part of that is not having a child. And I just kind of, I got a weird vibe in the text about it, where it was like a healing thing. Like, I'm getting rid of the old, and like that was part of it. I don't know. I felt like there was something off for me.
That sounds to me like it sounds off that's what the choice was. Jessica mentioned too the predatory like older partner thing in the game. I felt like that was an interesting commentary on the gay community, because you do sometimes see this and hear about this if you're in the queer community. I feel like where like older people will date like 19-year-olds, like serially date 19-20-year-olds. So I'm
It
like,
still
yeah,
I mean, that still happens.
it still happens. Like I was like, that's an interesting commentary, and it felt.
Yeah.
I was like, this is not inaccurate, but it's also not inaccurate in general to like groups of men in the world.
But also, I think she does show, like, it does kind of show how that can be so
Mhm.
harmful. I mean, you have the whole thing with like the art teacher and the art student, and you see how like it kind of stunted her personal growth. So I thought
Mhm.
that was kind of interesting in terms of commenting on like the harm that can be done with
Mhm.
having that like much older sort of predatory partners, even though that's
Yeah.
been the norm. The other thing that this kind of gets into a bit that I thought was interesting is it kind of like assumed heteronormativity, because like the fact that she met Jerome Lee in college and like didn't realize she was queer and sort of like ended up having to get married to this man and like put up with dating him even though she really actually wasn't into it. And I thought that was interesting just in terms of like, I think that there are, you know, like I've heard lesbian women talk about that being their experience, like even getting married and not realizing until later in life that like, oh, I like never actually was into this.
Yeah, that was an interesting like commentary on that, like how that works and how often we are like heteronormativity is like the assumption, right, that you're just straight.
Right.
Unless you're bi and you just assume everyone else is also bi, which is the opposite, I guess. In which you find out someone
or
is just
unless
straight,
you're like me and you're
huh?
like, or like you're bi and because you like the opposite gender, you assume you're straight.
Mhm.
Which is what
Yeah.
I did for a long time.
I don't know. I'm always like, oh wait, you're straight, you're not bi. Like to anyone I find out is actually straight, that is my response. I'm like, wait, what?
So. Well, since we're talking about, you know, bisexual people and gay people and relationships, why don't we talk about their relationship? Because like there's a whole bucket of worms to unload here.
Kick it off. Kick it off. Kick it off.
Are we supposed to like Carrie? Besides the fact that she's apparently amazing in bed, what do they have in common? Tell me one thing.
That was shocking within the first 10 minutes, and they're doing the do, and I'm like, oh, she just ran away from her husband. We're not going to give her any kind of mental space or anything like that. We're just gonna bang it out. Okay.
It is listen, Terry likes good music. She can play good music.
Nothing else. We have nothing in common.
She has money. And you know what? You'll put up a lot of things. If somebody's rich enough, I guess.
She's yeah. Well, and honestly, like think about what a lot of relationships in heterosexual romance novels are built on. Not much more.
But besides the sex, like Terry is going through a whole lot of emotions in here and then taking them out on Renee, like that, like after the party when she was jealous and she got very aggressive sexually to Renee, and she's like, wait, I can't do this. And it's like, you shouldn't have started. What are you doing, Terry? You should know better. You're a grown-ass lady. Yeah. And just I don't know why they're together besides the sex. Like I don't see anything they have in common with each other. I don't see anything in between them learning to grow together. Like they like to eat food and listen to music. That's all I got.
There's not really anything there.
There's nothing there, and I'm like, okay, it had a happy ending. They had to have their times of misery and like learn and grow as people and come back together.
Like, you don't have to have misery to be happy together.
Don't be single, Renee. You can do better. Like,
did we get like what we talk about was like we got a stalkery vibe because within the first like when she shows up at Terry's house and then she's all like, oh well, I'm just so glad that I don't have to sit in that bar just to go see you, and I'm like, so you didn't want to be there at all, or what?
I think. Listen, all of the things that you guys are complaining about are all the things that I normally complain about in straight romances, and everyone else thinks are hella romantic. So I'm just saying, like, I don't like the double standard. I mean, I agree, there are problems. I just think that, like, these are
I
all the
feel
same
like-
tropes that we get in other romances all the time that people
I
think are just
do
like romantic.
I think
you know?
there's
In
more
my defense, though, I
dialogue
also
between
get
the
upset at those
characters.
folks and don't want
And
them together.
like I didn't feel like they talked to each other at all though. Like I feel like in the straight romances I do read and stuff, like there's more dialogue usually between the characters.
Yeah.
There's more like tension building. This is just like I'm always ready for her, and here I'm gonna trauma dump about how my husband just used to stick his dick in me, no permission, randomly throughout the night, because that was jarring. I was like, what?
Okay,
Because
y'all,
I was there.
I tabbed one line in this because it kind of made me laugh. And Izzy, you saying that just reminded me. It's on like page 16. On one sense it's terrible because it's like, marital sexual assault, but like the words that are used for the description,
Is this the stabbing?
trying to shove his male dagger into the secret abyss of her being.
Boy, I tell you.
When Alexa read that to me, I went, what? That was the best you could come up with?
For me,
Jerry's that good apparently with the orgasms. Like,
I just feel like there was no had they hung out prior to her running away and going to Terry's house? Like, had they?
I thought they had one time like banged in a car.
I think so.
So
Or
I
made
think
out
for
in the car
me,
or something.
there
Yeah,
was a
they made
lack of like clarity in the nature of the relationship before she made a mad dash to leave and go to Terry. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
for
it
me,
was
it was
not.
kind of like it was a little bit of a gray area there. So I was thrown off because I was like, okay, I know you've interacted, but as a parent,
Mhm.
Taking my child, I'm going to this random person's house that maybe I interact on a number of occasions.
Yeah.
You're taking a big risk in general by doing this if we're talking about race relations during that time period.
Yeah.
That's a heck of a move to make with a child in tow. So that threw me off. I did not like that in some ways it felt, and this is just my personal opinion, it not necessarily fact. I don't know if I felt okay with almost Renee needing permission from Terry to be who she was. It felt that way to me. It may not be accurate, but I felt like she needed that permission, or she was asking for that permission. And I felt like in some scenes, Renee became a tool for Terry to learn and educate herself about the Black community. And that is an ultimate kind of like, I'm at a point in my life now where, honey, I can't. I can't like I go back to the scene in which like she, starts talking in a dialect as a joke and the cooking. And I was just kind of like, oh, what is going, like, I'm going to introduce you to Black culture and food by serving you. And I'm just like, this is just not reading right. And I don't necessarily think that was just like her intention.
Yeah.
I don't know, y'all. But then also the random orgasm.
The random orgasm is about where I left off last, and I was like, I don't think I want to finish this.
It was like, I was like, so I mean, I once again I get her points that men are not the end all be all for Black women. You don't have to have a Black man to enjoy sex. In fact, more often than not, they get the shit wrong. But I mean, we're going as far to say that I'm gonna lay next to a woman and automatically like have a miraculous orgasm. Like, she doesn't touch me, no nothing. All of a sudden, it's just like, oh my God, here it comes. I'm like, what? When I had to reread that section, I was like, here, what comes? What's coming? Because
it took me a moment. I was like, wait, what's happening? Wait, they're not doing it. Because I was like, the book was semi-vague, right? At times. And I was like, they're not doing anything though. Why is she having an orgasm?
I don't know. I feel like it's like those scenes though where it's like, you know, the dude gives her like 7 or 10 orgasms in one night, and I'm like, okay.
You're gonna have one
All
third.
right.
There's no way.
Getting up false expectations in this world.
Yeah.
Bethany, you know, you need to adjust your expectations, Bethany.
I
Tell your
just
husband to get on it.
I do get where she was coming from, that it can be just as pleasurable, if not more. And when you've only been taught that men can provide, especially I think, because I keep thinking about this in terms of Black women, when you've only been taught that that's where your pleasure can be derived from, you know, this experience of being with a woman, you're kind of like, oh shit, like I can get off like that. Now the miraculous floating in the air, I'm just laying beside you orgasms. I've never, maybe, you know, I'm missing out because
maybe if you
We
need
all
your
need
own
to have
Terry.
ethereal brain orgasms.
I have not found the right woman yet, y'all, because any woman that I have been with, I have not laid next to her and had a miraculous orgasm. So clearly I'm not picking them right.
Part of me's just kind of proud of her. Like, good for you, Renee. Honestly.
You got quite the like.
Oh my gosh. Well, like for her though, it's also, this is the first time she's experienced any pleasure.
Yes,
with sex,
yes,
right?
yes.
Like it's only ever been trauma for her.
Let me use your credit card. Yes. Well, I mean, Jerome knew about Fran. So I don't
You know,
think
how was Terry able to have that much money though back then? I feel like it would have been like not
I
allowed.
think she was an heiress.
She was an heiress. She had money. Her parents had a trust.
Her parents had money, and she was
Because like she could probably
like
barely
and
have
she
a
was
credit
a
card.
and she was a journalist.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
that's very
I don't think she's paying the bill with journalism. Honestly,
Well,
but-
back then I think they made more money than they do now. Like journalism used to be a better gig, but also her family had money. So
Okay.
Yeah. She's like, oh yeah, my family's estate over there, and I'm like, you can have
That's true.
multiple.
yeah, like, oh, you have 2 houses. Good.
Yeah,
I
let's
just
just
can't
look
even
at the
see the
house.
housing situation. Like, why would Terry even think that Renee would not be able to handle the fact of this guy saying, listen, you got a Black woman living with you, you got to go.
Yeah.
You can't,
Well,
yeah. I mean,
I wonder if part of the point though maybe was to highlight that that's a problem, because like I had my great aunt in this time period was married a Black man, and they had a really hard time finding anyone who would rent to them in Los Angeles as an interracial couple.
But I guess why would Terry think that Renee would not know that you know what I'm saying? Like, it was like, it wasn't surprising that it would be an issue. It was like, Terry, do you think a Black woman would not be able to handle hearing that her race is you know what I'm saying? Like, you try to coddle a woman that lives in her skin every single day, which once again draws back to the like, yo, like Terry just like the naivety on her end is just, it's a huge fucking stretch. It is a huge stretch. And I don't know, I just can't let that go.
It's weird. It's a weird assumption to make that she like wouldn't.
Yeah, she tried to coddle her from it, and it's just like, in that time period, I promise you, she's not the one that you would have to coddle from that situation.
She knows.
She would know. It was a shocker to you because of the way that you, quote unquote, grew up, but you wouldn't have to explain that or hide that from a Black woman.
Yeah, which Renee tells her that, to be fair.
Yeah, she does. No, she does. She does. She's like, I mean,
she's like, yeah, I know.
Automatically
I
says,
see
like,
it.
it's because I'm
Terry
Black.
is like a butch lesbian Glinda the Good Witch in her bubble coming down to like set Dorothy on her path.
That's true.
Right? Like if Glinda was like a butch lesbian.
Glinda was a butch lesbian, that's 100%.
Yeah, right? I'm like, did I just nail it? It just came to me right now.
You did.
Because
Yeah.
honestly, and that's the whole problem with the whole situation. That Renee is Dorothy and Terry is Glinda. Like, honey, she don't need you to guide her down the yellow brick road. Roles need to be reversed in this whole situation.
Pop your bubble. Like step out of the bubble.
Now I'm imagining, like, what does that look like?
I'm done.
It's gonna be like a disco
Like a pink pantsuit?
silver jumpsuit.
I think
Like
it's got to be pink
glittery
shiny.
jumpsuit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the 70s, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like it would be like
Saturday Night
a
Fever.
flat suit.
Bethany, log off. I'm about to remove you. You need time out. But this, I know, Jessica, I put your comment up here because Terry was just as confused as the rest of us. Because Terry was like, "Are you all right? Like, what happened?"
What is going
Terry
on?
was
Right
like, "What just happened to you?" I even thought one of the sex scenes between them was trauma based a little bit.
Mhm.
When they were they on the couch or something, and then they end up on the floor, and then like she instantaneously has this flashback to her husband, where because Terry was like trying to pry her legs open. I was like,
Oh,
yo,
yeah.
That's after the party, right? When
That
Terry
was
got
like
all
when
upset.
Terry's like being jealous and like, what, you
Mhm.
want things rough? All fine. No, and then she's like, no, I can't actually do this to you. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, okay. I mean, like the book is like, oh, it's good that you're jealous because that means you really care about me. And I'm like, is it though? I don't know. Seems not good. That I thought was uncomfortable.
that was an
This book
uncomfortable
is made
scene.
of red flags
Yeah.
and witch bubbles.
Red flags and witch bubbles. I'm not sure because every orgasm that she had was a mixture of pain and pleasure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was worried about it too. I mean, it stopped, but like,
Yeah, I had a moment. I was like,
I was like, what-
really?
where
Are we going
why
there?
are
Why are we doing this?
Yeah.
I was like, well, this is a new definition for me.
Yeah.
That was yeah. The trauma flashback, that it does
Yeah.
make sense. And she automatically
They were so jarring though.
yeah, she flashed
Every
back
time they
to
happened, I
Rome.
was just like, oh my gosh, this is so much.
It's a lot.
This is a little lot.
But it's, I mean, it's not much different, I think, than, you know, I'm saying it's trauma based, but it's no different than I think some of the same books that came out during this time period, which
Oh,
the
yeah.
forward makes a note of, like
Mhm.
The Bluest Eye, which I just got off of reading like last week. My God. You know, but I think it's always a lot reading that, even though it's, you know, it could be true to life, true to the experience of a lot of Black women. It's just like, oh man, I just wish that it wasn't like that you could not draw from those experiences. But in a lot of ways, those are experiences that you can draw from. So I don't know.
It seems, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but like it seems like it's been a newer movement to really focus on putting more Black joy into books being written.
Yes, there definitely has been, because I think that publishing has been they've been criticized more now than they have in the past about their inability to showcase joy experienced in marginalized communities. I know that for children's literature, there's this big push for what we term or what we coin as incidental stories. So kids from marginalized communities who may have certain marginalizations, but it's not the center of the story itself. They're just present. You know what I'm saying? Which is good because, and there was this huge argument, I think, I can't remember what journal this was in, but it was over Kids Lit. And it was a huge argument not too long ago. But they were going back and forth about the importance of highlighting that history and highlighting that drama, but where do you draw the line? Because that's not the only thing that people should be exposed to. Because then you only look at those people as their trauma and their hardships as if they don't have enjoyable moments in their life, or they're not happy people. They're just constantly burdened by this trauma. And so it's tough because, one, I'm a trauma reader. I think a lot of people know this about me at this point.
Read a lot.
I do. I
You
do
do.
read a lot of trauma-based stuff, but I think, is that your dog going to work
Yes.
like that? Oh my God.
She's out next to me.
But I think that even I have had to look at some of my reading, you know, in the past year or so and think like, okay, at some point you've got to find some balance and showcase the fact that, you know, people can experience things based on their marginalizations, but also they're happy, thriving people as well.
Mhm.
And so sometimes it is hard walking into a book where it's just like trauma, 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 trauma.
Mhm.
And yet I want to see a Black woman in a, you know, in a happy, fulfilling lesbian romance. And granted, there are plenty of those books
Mhm.
being published now.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of hard, like, dang, like she just couldn't, no breaks whatsoever. Like
Yeah.
I think it would
celebrating
have been nice to have more
lesbian.
balance, to like see them
Yeah.
have like, because if we had seen like a better relationship development between her and Terry, it would have worked better. Like the trauma, because
Yeah.
like I mean, some romance books have trauma in them, right? And you'll
Mhm,
read them and you're like, but it's balanced with this like
mhm.
feelings of joy still, and this just felt like
Yeah.
But I also recognize too that the wave of conversations about showcasing specifically, you know, like Black joy are
Mhm.
conversations that are just now really starting to get a lot of traction. Not that they are just starting, but people are acknowledging and especially publishing finally recognizing that those things are, and they're still doing a shit job of it.
Yeah.
But finding the balance between recognizing, you know, these historical moments, these conversations, these experiences are worth showcasing, but also like, let's just show people being happy and
Mhm.
thriving and living and being in love without every white character being fucking racist. Oh my
Yeah.
Yeah.
every white character. I was like, yo, like, I'm looking
Except for, you know who I forgot about? Her old music teacher that she goes back to visit, and she's got the friend living with her.
Yeah, the music teacher that
Sims,
was like
Miss Sims.
semi-predatory.
Miss Sims?
I
You
didn't
talking
think
about
she
Miss
was
Sims?
predatory.
Okay, I don't know. I got weird vibes with how she like how close she was. With
I
her,
don't know.
but
I felt like
think
she kind
what
of
did you
I didn't take it
maybe
as
she just had a
predatory.
crush on her.
I don't think she was predatory. I think
No.
that was one. I think that was an older Black woman looking at a younger Black
Mhm.
girl and knowing the system that was
Knowing that-
designed for her and what she
Mhm.
was about to walk into, and wanting her not to fall into the trap of, you know, you have to have, you know, a Black husband and have
Mhm.
kids and take care of house and
Yeah.
home, and that's all you will ever be. But I
Mhm.
think it could get a little convoluted because I think she did. She was.
I think the girl. I think as a kid she had a crush on her teacher.
had a
but
crush
I think
on
that's
her.
what it was. I
But
think,
I-
I
but-
think my
yeah,
brain was
but I don't
conflating
think-
her crush and the teacher's kiss thing was a little like to me, but
Oh, I think it was just like
I didn't
that was
read it. I
just,
didn't read
like,
it that way either.
affectionate.
I think too, because of the affection that can exist. Once again, I
Mhm.
think that people don't show this enough. Is the affection that can exist between Black women.
Mhm.
Because we're, you know, I think about how media portrays Black women and that affection is not often showcased.
Mhm.
And that's one thing I think that she did get right, is that the not only the nurturing aspect of it, that mentor-mentee relationship, but also that nurturing that can exist between Black women that we don't often get to see. So even the kiss to me wasn't
see that.
predatory on her
Mhm.
side. It was a sign of affection. I really care for you. Don't fall into the same positions that so many of us have already fallen into.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We want you to be different than the
Mhm.
rest of us. But I think with her having kind of this budding experience of maybe having attraction to women, probably convoluted that a little bit and made
Yeah.
it feel a little awkward.
Yeah.
But that moment to me was like a very tender and caring moment that happens a lot in the Black community that a lot of people don't speak of outside of
Mhm.
the Black community.
Yeah. I don't know, Renee. I know you're saying the conversation was too adult, but I don't know that I disagree.
I disagree too.
I think these are conversations you have with children. And she
These are
wasn't that
Yeah.
young when this happened. Like, I have pretty intense
12, 13,
conversations
right?
with my kids. Yeah, she
But
was like a teenager. Like,
but
those are
even
absolutely
then,
conversations.
it's conversations that happen in a Black household between a black mother and her Black daughter. It may seem
Yeah.
to adults on the
Yeah.
outside, but I promise you, for this time period and the time in which the age that she was, those are conversations that would have been happening because of how fast. How do I explain this?
Well, isn't there an expectation that like Black girls be more adult at a younger age often?
I think
feel
they're
like that's the conversation.
They're
They're
hypersexualized.
hypersexualized.
Yeah.
So
They're
like
hypersexualized.
I
And
think
so
when I think about it with that, then it's less like then my brain's like, oh yeah. I just like it squicked me out for a brief moment. I was like, what's going on here?
I had the thing is too is like because I mean I think when I was like 10 I was having conversations about stuff too because I like hit puberty really early.
Yeah.
And so like I just think like you have conversations and I'm already like having certain kinds of conversations with my kids. I don't know. Anyway, yeah.
Well, even as an Indigenous kid, like I was learning things at a very young age. Like I started being more conditioned to be more maternal at like 7 years old. Like I've been raising babies since I was 7. There was no breaks in between. So like, as I can totally agree with Ashley's point about like being hypersexualized and like not being able you can't wear that. You can't like having your uncles or like people like male authorities in your family being like, you can't wear that, or your mom coming in your room and saying, hey, so-and-so is coming over. You
gotta change. Yeah.
And then,
when you're like 9-10 years old, like as a literal
we're
child,
learning
like
about really heavy subjects at a very
young age, because I think that we are hypersexualized at a younger age. I mean, I was taught at a young age what male family members to be mindful of. You know what so stuff like that. Like and I would think that, oh goodness gracious, like, you know, I was young hearing that, but I think that it's because of the nature of what was happening and how Black girls are often looked at. It was an interesting thing once. I don't know why I keep going down like this rabbit hole with Facebook. Sometimes Facebook has some interesting things that happen, not always. But even there was this comparison of a little Black girl who had kind of like a bob cut. It was straight. You know, like, you know, the little kitty pose that, you know, we always make the kids do poses like this. She didn't have any makeup on, no, nothing like that. Cute little girl, and people instantaneously, why does that little girl look so grown? You don't need to dress her like that. You got makeup on her. And then they put her next to another child that was not Black, that had the same haircut, same everything. And they put cute versus too grown. And so conversations have a tendency to start earlier in some communities because of how society views us. And I think too, like, it seems harsh and it seems like it's too much, but unfortunately, when, like, I even worried about my child is tall for her age, and I'm concerned when I go out in public, oh, she looks so much older. That already red flags for me left, right, and center, because I know by the time she's 8 or 9, there's potential for my child to look like she's daggone 12, 13. And that's going to cause issues because society is already going to view her as being older or knowing more or being more experienced when she's really not. That's still a child at the end of the day. And so sometimes it does take having those like conversations that seem like, well, that's a lot to be talking with it. No, because society hasn't fixed itself. So I have to prepare my child for what she's about to walk into. And it's unfortunate that those conversations have to start so early. But I also feel like it's a reality of a system that is designed against particularly Black and Indigenous women.
Because we're propelled at like such a young age to look not even look out for ourselves, but to also have to look out for other children like our age too. Because you know that there were adults that like didn't teach their kids anything. So like not only just us having to look out for the little kids that we're in charge of, but like also the ones that they didn't have that conversation.
I mean, I've seen this conversation go around a lot on TikTok and some other places. Like whenever Black Twitter like floated into my feed around that stuff too. And it's always it's interesting because like, I mean, obviously it wasn't as big of a conversation for us. I mean, there were still moments at ages where it was like, yeah, we got to have these tough talks, you know, because I also hit puberty really young. So I had boobs before, like in middle school, you know, and like, you know, had 40-year-old men honking at me.
Yep.
You know, those things were like, because they, even though I was short, they're still like, oh, look, you've got, you know,
people think
boobs.
that you're
You
a
can't
lot
be
older than you
12.
are. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just it's interesting, like framing it that way too. Like I said, I just in the moment I had to like woo, but then now rethinking, I'm like, nope, that's totally what it was.
Yeah.
It just makes me sad. Like it makes me really sad.
I mean, honestly though, like there's a lot of like heavy conversations you kind of have to have. Like, I don't know, even I don't know, this isn't directly related, I guess, but like having biracial kids, even like I've had conversations with them about why like their friends are allowed to play with toy guns and they're not, because like children of color have been shot for playing with toy guns in public, and so no, you can't, sorry. And it really sucks that the world is that way. And but like they kept asking why, and I'm like, well, we got to talk about why. And I know that that's hard to hear, but like you have to have, I don't know, like there's heavy stuff you have to talk about because that's how the world is, unfortunately.
Anyway. That stuff is, man, it sucks, but you know, it's one of those things until society corrects itself. Like, I mean, you're gonna do everything you can to protect your kids at the end of the day. And so it means sitting down and having those conversations that you wish you did not have to have with them, but in order to protect them and make sure that they're safe day in and day out, I mean, unfortunately, yes, they do have to happen. But I felt like that scene was, you know, and there's a lot to be said too about the fact that, once again, having those direct conversations about things that Black women experience in society, because, you know, there are also lines of us that, you know, stuff gets brushed under the rug. It doesn't get talked about. So the fact that somebody was having that conversation with her, for me, in a lot of ways was meaningful, because sometimes that conversation doesn't ever happen. And it's, we're not going to talk about this. Let's just brush this under the rug as if it never, ever happens. And that leads to more trauma than what is even necessary.
I mean, but really everything in this book is just trauma. Like,
it is a trauma.
It's a
trauma-heavy book.
How does every bad thing always happen to her? Like when they went to the party too, and people were like grabbing her ass and stuff, and it's just like, girl, how it's always you?
Because honestly, I will tell you, I am not gonna lie to you now. I don't want nobody to take offense to this, but I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say. All right. Going to a PWI, for those who may not know what I mean when I say PWI, predominantly white institution, being amongst white drunk men as a Black woman ain't it. Okay. The comments, the touching, the fetishizing, the exotic nature of a Black woman, that does hold true. Now that I can't fault her for that.
Yeah, no, I agree. White drunk men are awful. Like I'm with her on that. But it's just like, girl, everything bad happens to her.
It does. Yeah. It does hold true, unfortunately. But I think some people would criticize it as like, this is what happens when you move in predominantly white spaces all the time.
Yeah.
It is a symptom of being in predominantly white spaces. Unfortunately, it comes with the territory where it's just kind of like, you are the exotic being, and people get a little liquor and then get loose at the lips, and it never ceased to amaze me when people go out bar hopping and you'd have these white college boys be piss drunk, and the comments that would just come are just like, can I just live in a place of peace and enjoy my drink instead of you commenting about my body, which you would do? Like, it's dehumanizing.
Yeah.
It is disgusting, and it gives you a complex about yourself. So
Mhm.
that scene was not shocking to me, but I wanted to say, see, girl,
Yeah.
what you need to do, you and Terry need to go somewhere where there's a little bit more spice.
Yeah.
Because this is not working for either one of you.
Yeah.
Terry's getting aggravated and pissed
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
You're getting grabbed and talked to sideways. Like, broaden your horizons.
Mhm.
Pick more flavor in your friend group, because this is not working.
And then there was that married couple. You know, it reminded me a lot of the conversations I see happening on TikTok today about like unicorn hunting couples.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I was like, man, this stuff's been happening for the guy who like can't possibly believe that any woman could actually be satisfied without a man.
Oh, child, the thing
Sir,
is,
I know you believe your dick is a gift, but I assure you it's not.
It's okay. We all know it's only 2 inches, if that, for him. So,
child. Those
Every
are
guy
about the pants. Like, but where is it?
Yeah.
Where is it?
Mhm.
That couple they were disgusting though. Like,
There's
I
just
was
so
like,
much
really?
disgusting. I get it. That happens. It's like I don't think any of these situations are unique and that don't happen in real life. I like fully buy all the situations. It's just like, does she ever have an okay day?
No, she doesn't.
She
Just
doesn't
don't
ever.
have
She's not allowed
moments of
to.
happiness.
She's not allowed
Unless
to have any day.
she's having the magical orgasms. That's when she
Yes.
has it.
Yeah.
Magical
There you
orgasms
go.
and fancy grocery shopping.
Yes.
Caviar,
There's-
turtles, and
Tishy
rattlesnakes.
orgasms. Like, there you go. That's your best day.
I just feel like there's more to life than orgasms and rattlesnake. I mean,
Yeah. I guess
there
to be fair,
though?
like
Is
by the
there?
end of at the end of the book, she's also like off having, you know, a musical career. I suppose there's that, you know.
It's after losing her
why
child.
did you say it like that?
I don't know.
I suppose that
I
you
don't
want
know.
to-
I mean, I think that the thing is like, right, is after she loses her child. So it's like, on the one hand, like, yeah, this is cool that she's getting to have these opportunities and see success from her one song. But also it's a little, it's just, it's hard for it to be a purely positive ending when this is coming from, you know, like this is coming after she like lost her child. I don't know. I have complicated feelings about it.
Yeah. I've said it before. The child feels like a plot device. Exactly. But it's just like, I don't like the tone that it gave, where it's just like, oh, but if you don't have a child, you can have opportunities. And it's like,
that was low-key kind of like a low blow to me. I was like, I feel like I have lots of opportunities.
I know, right?
Right? I just felt like it was handled very poorly. Like, what is the deal? How are we supposed to feel right now? Like,
yeah. Well, because the thing is too, is like if you're,
feeling the kid.
especially if you're with like someone that wealthy, like you can have plenty of opportunities while having a child. Like
you can get nannies. You can get 2 nannies. She's got like vacation
3,
time.
like, screw it. Like,
I mean, and
Like, what is
even
it?
well, and also it's not like she's an infant. Her kid is like 7. So
Yeah.
But also, did anybody feel like weird in a moment when her and Terry were gallivanting around, and I was like, "Where's Denise?" And then it didn't pop when they moved. I must have missed the part where Denise went with Renee.
Fran?
Yeah, Fran went with Fran.
Oh.
I must have missed that until they went to go
Oh.
pick Fran up, and I was like, so because when I was reading that whole section, I was like, "But where's Denise? Like,
Yeah.
y'all are having
We're
fun.
all-
Like,
But
what if
where's
there are
my
other options
baby?
to have?
Yeah.
Where's my
Like,
baby?"
how does she not
Yeah.
know where the child is?
Well, this happens a lot though. I feel like in books and movies, like there have frequently been cases where like I'm watching something and I'm like, but the baby, like you're doing this thing, but the baby is, you left it. Like, I don't know. I feel like,
Convenient plot device for when you need a child, and then when you stop
Right.
needing the child, she killed the child. You don't kill the kid.
No.
We're all in agreement on this.
I think we're all in agreement on that.
I don't know why. Like, can we rewrite it so that Jerome Lee drunkenly kills himself and she survives without a scratch on her? Like, that would have been the better
Fuck
ending.
Jerome. Let him get smashed in a car. No one
Right?
likes him. He
Exactly.
serves no purpose.
He's terrible. Let him get killed in the car accident.
Jerome just
Denise should just be with the grandma, like living it up in Kentucky.
It's like he didn't even like her, but he couldn't deal with not having her.
Because he knew that was the only way that he could get back at her. And I said that, but that also is not too far-fetched.
I'm saying that feels pretty accurate for some men and divorces,
it
honestly.
was kind of accurate in that sense, but I was just like, goodness gracious, like he didn't want her, told her that screwing her was like screwing a corpse. I was like, oh my God.
It's like, and you never wondered. Well, the thing is too, is I'm like, you never wondered why that is. You never wondered like why she's so non-responsive. Maybe it's because she's not actually into it, and
maybe she's not awake.
Have you met him? Of course, she has to be into it. Like he can't accept any other answer.
Oh, he couldn't accept. He couldn't accept the fact that she did not want him, nor his would they call it, his sword, his dagger. She did not want him, nor his dagger.
His male dagger.
He grew
she didn't
up.
Want him nor his male dagger.
Yeah.
He just grew up with all of these women being attracted to him and having life be easy and everything given to him.
Yeah.
I mean, he literally says that, right? Like
the one woman who doesn't really or not really into him, so he has to have her because she's the shiny new toy. Even if he doesn't like the toy, he can't let anyone else have the toy.
But it's like he would have been less pissed if it was another man. Like he can't cope with the fact that it's a woman.
He would have been less angry if it was another man, and that's what's so wild about it.
Yeah,
is I mean, and it's not.
But there's so many guys like that.
Yeah. That's not true. Like he just could not accept the fact that you left me and went with a one. What could she possibly do for you that I can't?
A lot.
I mean, we all know the answer to that, sir. It's that you couldn't even give her an orgasm.
I have immaculate orgasms with her, sir.
Immaculate orgasm.
Has to be, man. I ain't never heard of nobody laying next to somebody and all of a sudden they just have an orgasm. That is wild.
It's like immaculate conception, but it's with orgasms.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's perfect. No, it's perfect. That's exactly what it is.
That is.
I don't think I've ever read a romance where someone literally just has an orgasm from being in the same room.
I don't know. Now I gotta find another one.
Right. I need to. What we need to do is ask her. We need to send her an email. Like, listen, I don't know if this is inappropriate or not. But like, have you
ever actually happened?
Like, has this happened to you? Because if so,
based on real life. If so, how?
Thank you.
Tips, tricks,
love your work.
Manual.
Not really. Don't Google your name.
Please don't go on YouTube and look for it. Renee keeps saying money.
But Renee, she wasn't like fanning her with cash to induce the orgasm or anything.
It was the idea of I get to be with this wealthy white woman for the rest of my life.
I guess.
It's strange, but part of me is also proud. I said it earlier, part of me is proud of her too. It's like, get your orgasms where you can, like, good for you. Part of me is like, part of me is proud of her for doing it.
I mean, listen.
I was hoping the reveal would be like some weird, like, incorporeal thing touching her, but we didn't go there.
That would have been cool, but that I have read in books before.
About ghosts? Like, it's
yeah, like, I don't know. Terry secretly has ghost hands. Who knows?
Lesbian ghosts.
I'll take it. Like, that's
paranormal twist. Yeah, that'd be fun.
Anyway, so this book was a wild ride of emotion.
Yes,
most of them negative.
I do feel like going back to what I said in the beginning. I do think that she had some skin in the game with the commentary that she was attempting to make in this, because it definitely was conversations that were happening 60s, 70s, and looking at how Black queer women fit into the framework of society. The execution just didn't land, I think, maybe the way that she would have intended. And I'd be interested interested in seeing if her later works reflect a more I don't know how to say it, maybe a different thought process,
Yeah.
different perspectives, this being her first book. Does she execute these conversations differently? But it does hold its place in terms of its importance, I think, not just in romance but commentary about the Black community in the framework of a lesbian romance.
Yeah.
Just was not my wasn't my favorite.
Yeah. That's interesting. She had a novel come out in 2005.
What's it called?
Celebrating Hotchclaw. I don't know what it's about. Let me see.
I'm just surprised she had a novel come out that recently, I guess.
Yeah. Hotchclaw is a HBC ready to celebrate its 100th anniversary, but under the surface of jubilation and pride, there are internal conflicts, professional, psychological, and sexual, between the president and faculty. And students are in an uproar over political and campus issues, plus a shocking discovery about one of the school's most admired professors. Interesting.
There's a lesbian plot as well in this.
Okay. That sounds interesting. I mean, it might be interesting to read something that she wrote that much later.
Yeah.
Well, because her other one, Say Jesus and Come to Me, was out in like 1987-ish.
Yeah.
It was a while between books.
Yeah, it really was. Let's see. Huh.
That one looks to be... Hold on. I'm trying to see if that one is interracial or if it's a Black love. Oh, that one's not. This one's not lesbian. The Say Jesus and Come to Me. Oh, it is. Never mind. The name, I just assumed it was not.
Let's see.
It's a blues singer named Travis Lee. And
that's
Reverend.
interesting. Renee says the Say Jesus book is a lot of the same dynamic. Woman running from an abusive husband, but one is religious and one isn't. Huh.
That's interesting. I think she has a theme.
He's trying to write for her, I'm assuming.
Alice Walker blurbed Loving Her. Oh, wow.
Oh.
Alice Walker blurbed this. That's interesting.
I'm going to leave that for a different day.
Yeah, it's interesting. Celebrating Hotchclaw, you can't get the ebook on Amazon, but you can get it from Barnes & Noble.
Huh.
I'm kind of curious, honestly.
I would be curious if anyone else decides to journey on and read any of her other works. If it gets better, or if she just kind of is exploring the same thing with no like forward movement in her thought processes or how she talks about it. Because that would be interesting. Yeah. Like that'd be weird to take that long between books and be like in the same spot each time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it seems like It seems like a lot of her works have for the recognition that they do get. They are often criticized.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I guess what
she also wrote a lot of nonfiction.
Mm-hmm.
Which isn't shocking to me because, like, clearly she had a lot of sort of nonfiction things. Huh. Walker says this book shows us new ways of loving and caring. ...
Poorly.
Interesting.
That's interesting.
That is interesting.
Maybe she was talking about the magical orgasms.
Those are some new ways of loving and caring.
and daggers.
Maybe there's an accompanying PDF with instructions.
For abyss What was
Cavity
it?
was something I didn't need to hear again. Also, I'm good. We don't need to call it a cavity.
I mean, abyss makes it sound cool, honestly.
Abyss does sound kind of cool. It sounds a little dangerous. Cavity,
Yeah.
I'm just not here for it.
It sounds like something magical is going to happen. It's an abyss.
Mhm.
You know, who knows
Yeah,
where you're going to
like-
end up on the other side.
Yeah, like that I can deal with Abyss.
Yeah, but like cavity, it's just like that's just a nice. That's a hole. That's just you found a synonym.
Wait, so excuse me. The other book that she wrote, the black and white of it,
Yeah,
is that a short story collection?
I think so. Or essays or short stories.
Let me see.
One of the reviews, literally for that collection, says very
Yeah,
few
short
of
stories.
these short stories depict healthy relationships. Maybe 2, 3 at most.
I mean, there's a lot of authors who make a living doing all books about unhealthy relationships. Colleen Hoover, cough.
I know.
So you know, it's not unique.
True.
There's a lot of fucked up
No.
relationships.
No, I know. I just like, oh, that's interesting. That's the first review I read.
Yeah. Okay, I might buy a couple of these books, honestly, just because I'm curious
To see if
to see how they like to try some of her other stuff, because I just think
Mhm.
I think it's interesting.
maybe it seems like the short story collection fares better than this first book.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Any final thoughts?
It gave us
I'm
a
not
lot to
gonna
talk
finish.
about.
Yeah, I DNF'd it. I wrote up my
Okay.
review. I said the kid dies. I'm done.
Let's
Nope.
go.
I might go add content warnings later, but
Yeah, I wish I had checked any. I didn't read the forward because I was like, let's just get to the book. So I didn't know.
the forward helped. It prepped me.
I
I'm
didn't
glad I read the
know.
forward. I read the
I
forward.
went straight in going, oh God. And it was a lot.
Oh, yeah. No, I read the forward. Honestly, though, I didn't realize that the girl didn't die until the end of the book. So there was a point earlier in the story where I was nervous because Terry was supposed to go pick her up from school after she went to see her ex-lover. And I was like, oh God, no.
Yeah, that was
Is she gonna
be the-
forget? I was like,
yeah.
is she gonna forget to pick her up, and then Jerome is gonna get her instead? Like, that's
It made
not
me
what
slightly
happened, but
anxious. I'm not
It
gonna
made
lie.
me anxious. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
it's just- it
everything
made me
turns
slightly
out bad. So you're like, what's next? Like, it's just too tense.
Yeah, you're tense the whole book.
Yeah.
Like there's no
Also,
moment
I
to be
feel like you can't really
joyful.
trust Terry to like always remember things. So that
Yeah.
made me,
that part.
you know,
Well, no, she told us right away when she forgot about the cleaning lady coming.
Yeah, she's been rich and white for too long. She just
Yeah.
like can't. She
See, I'm
hasn't had
glad I read the
consequences for her
forward.
actions.
Because I think it allowed me to DNF it easier after this conversation because I felt like I don't need to know now. I'm good. I feel like the forward told me everything I needed to know. Like as I was reading it, I was like, why is this here?
Yeah.
Like, you're giving me
Yeah.
the whole book. And then I started it and I was like, oh, this is literally the whole book.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
So yeah.
Well, we're 0 for 2, but hey, we're gonna be back in October.
yeah.
What is your book, Amanda?
I forget. I think it's YA romance.
It's the first, I think, sapphic YA romance. I have it somewhere.
It has a name in the title.
Yeah. Annie on My Mind
That's
from
There's a name.
1982. First
Ooh.
YA sapphic romance / coming of age story. Yeah.
I am hoping I get Lesbian Babysitters Club. If they give that to me, I will be so happy.
That would
Maybe
be
just
fun.
I'm hoping. Like Lesbian Babysitters Club, tell me you wouldn't want to read that.
No, I'm here
No
for
one
it.
thought Christy
I
Thomas
think
was
I
straight, right?
honestly I get the vibe that this one is also going to have some trauma in it.
Why can't we get some happy lesbians?
I think we will. Listen, we're going in chronological order with these books.
Yeah.
So I think the closer we get to modern day, the less trauma there's.
Ashley, you're just
Hopefully, love
exhausted.
spell when we get to my book in like
Yeah.
April.
I just want to read. I mean, granted, I've read some. I primarily read. I'm not gonna lie. I primarily read Black lesbian romance.
Mhm.
It's quite delectable. But this has been a miserable journey so far. Like, I know that we can have some happy lesbian romances, but this has been nothing.
I feel
but
like
I know.
after we finish, we need to pick a book to read as a group that
We
is
do.
happy
That's-
and joyful.
Just like
I-
smutty
yeah.
and fun and like happy lesbians banging the bejesus out of each other. Like,
yeah.
Please.
you know,
I will be chasing this with Cleat Cute, I think, and only for the week. By
Ooh.
Natasha Bishop.
Oh my God.
Listen, I've been holding off on
okay,
it because I was like, it's supposed to be so good.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It's
So
oh,
Jessica is
I'll DM you when I
saying
read it.
that she enjoyed Annie on My Mind.
okay.
Okay.
oh, but I
Okay.
don't get lesbian babysitters club though. No.
Okay, let me read the description so we can like see. Two teen girls whose friendship blossoms into love and who, despite pressures from family and school that threaten their relationship, promise to be true to each other and their feelings.
This one actually has an audiobook on the library app, so I'm happy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's on
Nice.
Scrib too.
Yeah.
I wish they were gonna solve a mystery because then it could be Babysitters Club.
Okay, like
Listen.
this
Somebody
is
has to have written
encouraging.
that.
Somebody said, I loved this book so much. It was sweet and heartbreaking and beautiful and ultimately brought me so much joy. So maybe we get a happy ending. I'm hoping.
I'm
Fingers
hoping because
crossed.
I've read so much trauma in the past couple. I went from daggone the bluest eye, which took me out
Oh
of the
gosh.
game forever.
The
Then
first time I
just-
read that book, I was like, I don't think I could ever read this book again.
I said the same thing and then I read it again. And now I'm saying it again. I will never read this book again. And probably in
God.
10 years, I will say again. I just need to go back and revisit this book. But then I read The Outsiders. I just, like, I forgot that no one survives. Everyone dies in The Outsiders as well.
Ashley, you need some like happy books.
I've been reading picture books, okay? It's
Okay.
kind of complicated.
Okay, well, hopefully maybe this will be better next.
Oh, yes. And then, yes,
You know,
Magic Steps was
least
a
we have-
nice,
Yeah.
it was a nice kind of palette in between, but I just can't. Then I read Isabel Allende's new book. I was like, you know what? Just
Oh.
screw it at this point. Like, I just can't.
Yeah.
I cannot win.
Oh no, Renee's like
You couldn't let me have my
The
hope.
Outsiders.
Oh, I'm sorry, Renee. Yes, content warning for death, child.
Yeah.
Yes, it's been years and I haven't read that book since high school. And I just finished it up and I was like, I holy crap.
Oh, I thought Behind the Scenes by Corellia Stetswaters was pretty delightful. It's like a slow burn sapphic romance, and they're like 30s and 40s characters.
Maybe
Oh, I
I
have
need
this
to
on my
read a
TBR.
romance. Maybe
I
that's what I need to do. I
I
just
like
finished a
that.
romance though. That was pretty good. It was Ursula's Origin. No, it was a
Oh.
romance. It's erotica. It's not a
Okay.
romance.
That's fine.
But it was fine. It was great. And I didn't realize that it was an Ursula origin story until the end. I was like, oh, this is fucking Ursula.
That's fine.
Yeah, it should have like the octopus tentacle should have like given it away.
Oh yeah.
But then
Yeah.
when things went left and it was like only a couple pages left, I said, oh. And then I was pissed because there's not a sequel.
Oh.
Oh.
I would have loved to see a sequel to that. It's by what's her first name? Izzy Burnett. First name. She writes those really short, erotic
Oh my gosh.
novellas.
I know who you're talking about, and my brain.
She does
'Cause
all
I
the
read
Black
one.
Mermaid books. All of the
Yeah, I
Black
read-
Mermaid books.
Oh my god.
It starts with an R. What the hell is that woman's name?
I know.
Ashley,
so
did
mad
you
at
ever
Lisa.
did you ever read those ones? I feel like you probably did.
Which one?
The ones that's like that time I got drunk and
Yes,
like
I read the first one.
okay.
It did. It was pleasant.
Okay.
Such a pleasant.
They're so
pleasant
fun.
read.
Because there's another one and a novella. And
Oh,
there's
shit.
another one coming out.
Rianne Burnett.
That's
I
her
didn't know
name.
she had a Ursula one.
Well, it's okay. So it's confusing because it's a merman on the cover. So I thought it was just like, and she's a witch,
Mhm.
and they end up meeting, and he is supposed to be King Triton, but you don't know that until like things start
Okay.
moving forward, and you realize, oh, she's a witch. She goes underwater to get to know him better. He's a piece of shit. And then you find out that the way things work out, I was like, huh.
She got one called Slippery and Satisfied. That's an alien tentacle romance collection.
She writes some very interesting,
love
like,
her.
so how does this open and where is this going? And so when she was like, oh yeah, I'm going to come, I can't change myself into a mermaid, but an octopus is the next best step. I was like, huh. So where is he? Okay. That apparently the sex was better as an octopus.
Okay.
Take it.
Interesting.
If I'm looking for wild times,
How do they
I
have
go to
sex?
her.
It's like fish have cloacas. Like how did they do it?
Well,
Listen, we don't
apparently he
question
has
things.
some things that like it can come out.
Usually
And-
that's how they write it. Is they
Yeah.
there's like a covering and it opens
And it opens
protrudes.
and
It
it
has
comes
a
out.
dip pocket. And it,
Yes.
Yeah.
And then
Yes.
In pockets.
Yes. That's
He's-
that's usually how I've read
Fish house.
mermaid or
when she has the
erotic
tentacles,
romances.
like
It's like this.
she has to have a hole in there
nerve-
somewhere. She has
yeah,
to-
but the nerve endings she says are
You know?
much more intense because there's so many of them. So it's just a great time until he does some ain't shit stuff, and then it's like, I'm gonna fuck him up. I said, oh my god, it's Ursula. Y'all should have seen me when I finished that book. I was so excited. I was like, I need the sequel. And then I found out there's no sequel.
Ugh.
I was so
I'm
disappointed.
gonna read that soon.
Wow. I do not feel enough for this conversation.
Did you see The Shape
Random-
of Water? I feel like that's how his business works.
Hmm?
Well, he has legs.
If you saw The Shape of Water, yeah, but it's this and this. It's
yeah,
It,
but
like,
I feel like he
opens
has,
and-
I don't know. I think it's because it's a whole fish tail. Because they're like there wouldn't be an area.
yeah, but it's just like a pie.
They're like a Ken doll area.
Thanks, Izzy. But I feel like
How
I've
did we
read
always get here? Didn't last time like
We
I
did.
ended up
Yeah, I
at
don't know.
tentacle hair sex?
Because
demonetized.
it's inevitable.
This
It's
is
always
demonetized.
inevitable.
It's inevitable. It's fine. It's perfectly fine.
It's okay, mine was demonetized. So
It is why we exist. You know, next one we might not because it's YA, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe.
I feel like that's challenging me. How we're gonna get to tentacle porn?
Yeah.
It was amazing. Okay. I just felt like, oh, I like Rianne Burnett though, because she does
She's so
these
fun.
shorts that are
Mhm.
so fun and random.
Mhm.
And it's like every weird creature being that you can think of, she does it with Black characters, and I
Mhm.
am here for it every single time.
I've only read 2 and I want to read more, but like I like dip in and then I'm out. Like I can read like a couple and then I'm done. I'm like, I'm good for now.
She does
But
Mm.
I read her first Merman one, Sated on the Beach.
Oh, I read the
was really
sequel.
good.
There's I think, isn't there like 3 in that series?
There's
now?
a couple now. There's a box set. So I'm like, great, I gotta get the box set and read them all. And then I read her Hell's Gate one, which is what got me into her because the Hell's Gate one was really good. And it was a nice, like it was so different. And like
They
she
are.
summons the devil basically, and they live in an apartment together at the end.
How did the lady mermaids receive the penis?
Well, so she has like one
Where's
where they
their
have
hole?
they have a threesome. There's one where like it's a human and 2 mer people, and they have a threesome, and apparently they kind of have a magical pound shove situation going on. Let me tell you, I have never felt so turned on by mer people having sex, and I was like, where can I find a mer person? and how to?
I'm just trying to figure out the
I have a new
terrible.
kink, I think, and I don't know how I feel about this.
And listen, I enjoy it because it's like you have these
Oh.
Black women who are escaping and going to the beach to enjoy themselves. They go on the ocean and it's like Pound Town.
Yeah.
Like, this is great.
You know what?
She's like on
I
the trip with
actually-
her friends, and like it's just like bye. She's like, I gotta go bang this merman. Like she didn't actually tell them that, but that is what it felt like. She's like,
I'm
bye.
gonna go, bye. See y'all later. I'm gonna go swim
Okay.
with this man in the ocean.
So I do actually on TikTok, although I think he's gay, but like I do follow a Black merman on TikTok.
You better send links in the group chat later, Bethany.
Okay.
Oh man. Now before I go to sleep tonight, that's what I'm gonna do. I want to read a Rian Burnett book just to cleanse my palate
It's a
a
good
little
palate
bit.
cleanser. You know
Palate
what?
cleanser. It'll be nice. I got to pick up something else. I don't know if because that whole series, Izzy, is like they're retelling. So I think the one after that is like Rapunzel. And then I forget what other one she has in that, but I know Rapunzel is one of them. And then the first one was like a merman.
I saw Beauty and the
Or
Beast has been
Ursula.
one, so I was like, you know, I'm here for that always.
Okay, I sent the link. He's like a plus size Black merman,
I love it.
which I think is cool.
Is it the Enchanted Lust collection?
Tell me the titles.
Hold on.
Jeez,
Let me
she's written
click
so
on
much
it.
stuff.
She does, and they're all
Natural
super short.
Passions,
No,
Burning with Lust. Okay,
Oh, I think
they
I
were really short.
The first one is before he was king
Okay, hold
in
on.
that series.
Oh, she's got a ghost one too. Oh my god, I'm about to have
Yeah.
this. One of my vlogs is going to be me going down a rabbit hole of these books again.
She wrote
Wait,
one
I
called
found it.
United on the Beach, and I missed it.
Sated on the Beach.
Yeah, I don't know how I missed that one.
You haven't read that one? That one's really good.
I mean, I read Sated on the Beach, but the one that I just saw came out in 2020, United. I
Mhm.
read Return to the Beach and Sated on the Beach, but I did not read United on the Beach.
I found it. Before he was king, letting my hair down,
Yes.
playing 2 different tune, Nobody's Prey.
Yes.
Bonus story, Golden Opportunity.
Yes.
She finds 3 werebears in Golden Opportunity.
Wow.
I am uncomfortable with that title because I'm concerned that there is something in that I do not like. But we're gonna hope for the best.
Well, they're also bears.
It's honey, Izzy. It's probably honey. They're bears.
I hope so. I hope so.
But this one, Rotting Desires, zombie erotica.
No. No.
I draw the line at rotting.
Yeah, maybe not rotting.
I may read that
No.
one. That sounds interesting.
I mean, there's a time limit because you can only do it for so long until they rot too much. Because then they're just skeletons.
Listen,
True.
don't question people's weird interests in dead bodies.
I'm just saying, like, from
True.
like a logistical perspective.
Yeah, this is true. But I did read The Skeleton King, okay? And he did.
What are you gonna do? Like, this is a practical thing you have to think about. You're a zombie.
In The Skeleton King, he put them on ice.
He did what?
He put them on ice. The bodies.
I'm saying it's already in you and it comes off. Like, it's too late.
Oh, like if he's rotting and then it
Okay.
just boom, boom.
You can just break it right off. And
I
like
guess
then
it's true. Okay. Because I was like, in The Skeleton,
you don't want to go to the ER and say,
doing
well,
this to women
excuse me,
bodies
doctor,
and-
I've had a night.
Maybe
Oh,
what
yeah.
you need is a sapphic zombie romance.
Maybe. I'm sorry. I
Bethany things could still come off.
It'd be better. It'd be better.
I mean, now Amanda's got my brain going, and I'm like, oh god. That's quite the ER trip. I
How
get
do we
this
devolve
removed.
like this? Like these lives just go so
I
off.
support
Wait,
you
wait.
all in all.
She
you
has
do.
one where someone is screwing trees.
What?
Sticky Shade has one
It
that
happened
is
in the bed.
are they smooth from all of the fucking? I would hope, like a broom handle.
I don't know.
somebody wanted me to read, what is it?
No.
The Morning Wood Tree by Siggy Shade, which is literally a lady on the run and she ends up with a tree.
Like the tree people from Lord of the Rings trees, or just an actual tree?
I think it's tree people.
Because like Treebeard, I could see that being a thing. You know?
I'm okay. So she has relations with dryads and sentient vines.
Okay.
Do you think somebody's probably written that somewhere out there, right? Treebeard and one of the hobbits.
That is totally on
You
AM3,
know it.
Bethany.
You know that. You know that it
That is on
Think of it,
AM3.
there is
If
porn
you're
of it,
wondering if
Bethany.
it's-
I will send you
It's
one,
out there.
okay?
No, it's okay.
Are you sure we can send it
Yeah,
to you?
good,
Here on your
okay.
phone.
I don't know. Treebeard kind of gives daddy vibes, so I'm like, I could see people like
Yes.
writing erotic fan fiction about Treebeard.
It probably would.
It
Oh my god.
Never question it. It always exists.
Oh my
We have
gosh.
the best conversations. They descend into
God.
madness.
You good?
Yes.
All right, so I know what I'm reading before I go to sleep tonight. Let me just
love it.
find my next one.
Nice.
All right, y'all. It's been real.
Right.
As always.
This has been a great conversation as
Yes.
always. Remember that we will be on Amanda's channel, The Naughty Librarian. We'll be on her channel in October, talking about Annie on My Mind.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, y'all. Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.